This is MrsAgroSquerril standing in for Agro while he recovers from some vocal strain. It might be a day or two, it could be a couple of weeks. I hope you enjoy. Sparrow by Coyote Havoc. The sound was so sudden that it spooked Rachel awake, a simple, solid thud against the window. The impact left a light smudge of a bird's wing and a small, fluffy body marring the glass. Birds trying to escape predators slam into the glass and break their necks. An unfortunate reality, but thankfully not too common. Rachel had fallen asleep on the couch again, a bad habit she had been meaning to break, but her job left her so exhausted most nights that it was all she could manage. The welcome softness of the cushions and armrests, the blanket she kept draped over the back of the couch, it was a welcome relief when she walked through the door, and every time she thought, I'll just rest here for a moment. The night flew by and it was already morning again. Picking herself up off the couch, she went to examine the little impact site and look for the poor little bird that had woken her. It was a common sparrow, a splash of black over the eyes, wood-brown wings and a tuft of cream-coloured feathers on the breast. She was considering how best to deal with the unfortunate bird when the poor thing moved and began to flail around in panic. Her heart went out to the little bird, and she walked outside to pick it up and see if there was anything she could do. The sparrow continued to flail wildly, perhaps in fear of the monster that had scooped it up off the porch. Bringing the sparrow inside, Rachel placed it on the blanket still thrown across the cushions, and went into the kitchen to get some water for the sparrow. Her kitchen was a mess of to-go containers, half empty with Chinese food, but she did find an unused portion cup of soy sauce forgotten in the mess. Emptying out the cup and rinsing what remained away, she filled the tiny cup and brought it back to the couch. The little sparrow had calmed down significantly, and the fear seemed to be replaced with curiosity. The little black eyes followed her movements as she placed the water nearby, and with some apprehension it began to drink. What little faith Rachel had earned from the bird allowed her to probe gently, first checking the neck and then the body and onto the wings. One of the sparrow's wings had been broken from the impact on her window, but the rest of the little bird seemed fine. The bird finished the tiny cup of water and chirped at Rachel as if asking for more. "Still thirsty?" Rachel said softly. "Probably hungry too." Rachel smiled as she picked up the cup and refilled it, bringing out a small bag of whole sunflower seeds that she poured into a pile nearby. "I love to put these on my salad, but they'll only go to waste right now. Better that you have them." With the bird resting comfortably, Rachel retreated to her bedroom, grabbed a set of fresh clothes and a towel to take a shower. The hot water washed away some of the soreness from her aching joints and stiff neck. Little streams of water flowed down the curves of her breasts and down her back, rejuvenating her spirit if only temporarily. Toweling dry, she slipped on a pair of fresh underwear and began to comb out her hair before blow-drying it and tying it into a tight bun. As she dressed, the sparrow chirped happily from the couch, and a little more joy entered her life provided by her newfound friend. "I have to head to work, little guy," Rachel said as she slipped on her pants and reached for her shirt. "You'd hate me if you knew what I do, but it puts food on the table and a roof over my head." The sparrow remained quiet while she spoke, as if listening attentively, then chirped a few times as if to say it understood. Work sucked the life out of her, as usual. Working in a government lab that tested diseases, antibiotics and vaccines on chickens. Every day she had to clean out their poop and retrieve any chickens that had died during the night, recording the number on a clasp on their right leg before placing the unfortunate fowl in the incinerator to prevent any further contamination. It broke her heart daily, trying to care for the birds who were isolated in the lab, knowing that every day was a losing battle to keep them alive just a little while longer, only to witness the culling when the experiments were complete. She hated the job with all her heart, but it was the best paying job she could find. "Rachel," her boss called over the intercom, "the test vaccine in Lab 2 will be finished tomorrow, and they'll need to be exterminated in the morning." Rachel looked at the speaker hanging in the corner near her, wiping the sweat from her forehead and hiding the tears she knew would come later anyway. "You're doing a great job, Rachel, and I've put you in for a promotion," her boss said dispassionately. "I want you as controller on night shift. It's $5 more per hour, and you won't have to clean out the labs anymore. And all she had to do was watch as the chickens died in every lab from the comfort of the control room. In some ways it was better, being out of the lab, but it was also worse having to watch as the chickens died, unable to help. For the umpteenth time, she considered quitting, but she knew even 2 jobs wouldn't cover the rent and food where she lived. She was trapped in this job, with no escape. Broken and defeated, like every other day, she somehow managed to drive home and drag herself through the door. She thought about ordering a pizza, or maybe some Thai, as she locked the door behind her. "This is no life for one such as you," a voice called out behind her. Rachel was spooked for the second time today, spinning around in fear. A light chuckle erupted from the blanket still thrown haphazardly on her couch. Where the sparrow had been chirping happily hours ago, a little winged lizard now sat. It was the same colors as the sparrow, the black mask over the black eyes, a creamy white breast, and wood-brown wings. Scales replaced feathers, and little spikes and horns crowned its head. A long, thin tail wriggled like a snake with a small stinger at the end. You're a dragon," the lizard chortled, "and my name is Zilarayondor. Don't be afraid, as you meant me no harm this morning, I mean you no harm now." I must be hallucinating. I've been working too hard, or maybe I'm infected with one of the diseases they've been testing. "Trust me," Zilarayondor replied. "You're in perfect health, physically and mentally. It's just everything else in your life that is wrong." "What do you mean?" "Your work is destroying the innocence in your heart, but I can give you a choice as to what happens next. You may remain in this world, and all memories of my existence will be lost by morning. On the other hand, I can show you another world where I come from, far more dangerous than this one, but far more alive as well. I can teach you what you need to survive in my world, and give you the gift of magic if you would like. The choice is yours. Just me. All of you on this world are given the choice at some point in your life, when everything looks bleak and there is no hope in sight. Very few take the latter option, a fear of the unknown and the uncertainty of a world never seen. You're a stubborn race, always hoping that things will get better just beyond the next day. But some few of you choose to cross from this world to my own, and embrace the promise of adventure and a life full of wonder. You must choose now, while what little innocence that remains in your heart still shines. Tomorrow will be too late." Rachel weighed her options, putting them into the most simple terms: a $5 raise and still struggling to live, or a life of magic and mystery in another world with this dragon to guide her. Closing her eyes and afraid of both options, she opened her mouth to speak. "Has anyone seen Rachel?" her boss asked over the intercom. "She's late for her shift." Blank eyes stared back at the loudspeakers, curious as to why Rachel hadn't showed up. "What the hell is wrong with people today?" the boss muttered into his empty office. "Offer someone a raise, and it's like they vanish off the face of the planet." With an exasperated sigh, the boss turned to the little figurine of a sparrow sitting on the edge of his desk. "You're the only reliable person I know, Zil," he said before opening an employment app on his phone to advertise an open position at the lab. End of story.
I'd greatly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Caspar Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.